Okay, so you want to own real estate. Buy a building, collect rent, watch the value climb. That's the pitch, and it's not wrong exactly. It's just incomplete in a way that matters. Real estate isn't one business, it's several stacked together. You can build it, sell it, rent it, or just hold it and wait. Sometimes all four happen inside the same deal. That's what makes this industry so hard to explain simply. So let's follow $1 from raw dirt to final profit. Every real estate business starts in the same place: land. And land isn't valuable just because it exists. A field in the middle of nowhere is worth almost nothing. The same field near a new highway exit is worth millions. Location decides most of the value before anyone builds anything. Access matters too: roads in, roads out, distance to jobs. Nearby infrastructure can quietly double what land is worth. That's why picking the land is often the first real decision. Get this step wrong and nothing after it can fix the math. Buying land itself can require millions before construction starts. Some developers pay cash, most borrow a large chunk of it. Banks lend against land value, investors buy in for a stake, overpay for the dirt, and the whole project starts underwater. Owning land doesn't mean you can build whatever you want on it. Zoning laws decide what's legally allowed there in the first place. Houses here, apartments there, offices somewhere else entirely. Height limits, density limits, use restrictions, all set by zoning. Change the zoning, and the same dirt can double in value overnight. This is why developers sometimes fight city councils for years. A rezoning approval can be worth more than the land purchase itself. Real estate projects rarely get funded with one person's cash. Most combine their own money with bank loans and outside investors. This mix is called leverage, using less to control more. Put down 20%, borrow the rest, and control the full asset. Leverage can multiply returns. It can also multiply losses. When debt gets expensive, that multiplier works against you fast. Once financing closes, the actual building phase can begin. Materials, labor, equipment, permits, engineering, all of it costs money. A 6-month delay can quietly erase a project's entire margin. Cost overruns are the silent killer of real estate deals. Managed well, construction turns a flat lot into real value. The finished building can be worth far more than what went into it. That gap between cost and value is where developer profit lives. But a finished building alone still isn't a finished business. Real estate depends on everything surrounding the property too. Roads for access, power, water, and drainage to make it usable. Parking, sidewalks, public space, all quietly shape demand. Good infrastructure attracts buyers before a single unit is sold. Bad infrastructure can sink an otherwise great building. A great property still doesn't sell itself automatically. Developers spend heavily to create demand through marketing. Listings, showrooms, agents, social media, all working together. The faster buyers show up, the faster cash starts flowing back. Some developers don't wait for the building to finish at all. They sell units early through what's called a pre-sale. Buyers pay deposits and installments before construction is done. That cash helps fund the build and cuts outside financing needs. But pre-sales come with an obligation attached to every deposit. The developer now has to actually deliver what was promised. Miss that deadline, and buyers can walk away or sue. Eventually, every property gets sold or it gets rented. Selling turns the whole project into cash in one clean move. The price has to cover land, construction, financing, and marketing. Whatever's left after those costs becomes the developer's profit. Control costs well, price it right, and the margin can be strong. But selling isn't the only way real estate makes money. Instead of selling, an owner can rent the property out instead. Tenants pay monthly and the owner keeps the building itself. That creates something selling never does: recurring cash flow. As long as rent stays above costs, the building pays for itself, and the owner still holds a real asset at the end of the year. Rental income doesn't just show up automatically every month. Someone has to find tenants, collect rent, and fix what breaks. Someone has to keep common areas clean and occupancy high. That work costs money, but it protects the income stream. Skip property management, and the whole cash flow model breaks down. Residential real estate is what most people picture first. Houses, apartments, condos, families need somewhere to live. Demand tends to stay fairly steady, recession or not. People downsize or double up, but they rarely stop needing shelter. Commercial real estate works on a completely different rhythm. Offices, restaurants, retail stores, all renting space to businesses. These leases run longer, sometimes 5 or 10 years at a stretch. That length creates predictable income when tenants stay put. But an empty office generates zero revenue while costs keep running. Vacancy in commercial property can be brutally expensive, fast. Retail real estate has one of the simplest business models around. Own the space where people shop and rent it to stores. Foot traffic is the entire product being sold to a retailer. A busy corner can support rent that a quiet block never could. When shopping habits shift, retail landlords feel it immediately. Industrial real estate makes money in yet another way entirely. Warehouses, distribution centers, logistics hubs near highways and ports. Companies need space to store and move product at scale. These tenants often invest heavily in their own facility setup. That investment tends to keep them locked in for years. Stable tenants, long leases, this is often the quietest segment. Most real estate investors never pay the full price in cash. A mortgage covers most of it, a down payment covers the rest. Put down 25%, control 100% of the asset, collect 100% of the rent. That's the entire appeal of leverage in one simple sentence. If the property performs, leverage can multiply the return sharply. The loan still needs paying regardless of how the property performs. Interest rates quietly control the economics of every single deal. Lower rates mean cheaper loans and smaller monthly payments. That lets buyers stretch further and pay more for property. Higher rates flip that math around almost overnight. Payments rise, buying power shrinks, and prices often follow it down. A 2-point rate move can reshape an entire local market. Real estate can also make money without selling or renting harder. Values rise on their own as cities grow around a property. More people, more jobs, more infrastructure, more demand for land. That natural rise in value is called appreciation. Buy right, hold long enough, and appreciation does real work quietly. Investors don't always have to wait for the market to move. They can force appreciation by improving the property directly. New kitchens, updated units, fewer vacancies, higher achievable rent. Income-producing property is often valued by the income it makes. Raise the income and the appraised value often rises with it. When value rises, owners don't need to sell to access it. They can refinance instead, pulling a new, larger loan against it. The old mortgage gets paid off from the new loan amount. Whatever's left over can come back to the owner in cash. The property is still owned, it just now carries more debt. That makes strong, steady cash flow even more important afterward. Every mortgage payment slowly builds something called equity. Equity is simply the property's value minus what's still owed. Pay down the loan, or watch the value rise, equity grows either way. Over enough years, a modest down payment can become real wealth. That slow build is the quiet engine behind most real estate fortunes. Real estate can generate wealth, but it never escapes taxes entirely. Property taxes get billed every single year, performance or not. Rental income gets taxed. Profit from a sale gets taxed too. Smart investors run the tax math before ever calling a deal good. A property that looks profitable on paper can lose money after tax. Buildings don't stay valuable without ongoing maintenance either. Roofs leak, pipes burst, HVAC systems fail on their own schedule. A single major repair can consume months of rental profit instantly. Smart owners budget for this before anything actually breaks. Vacancy is one of the quietest risks in all of rental real estate. A tenant leaves and the rent stops that same afternoon. The mortgage, taxes, and insurance keep running anyway, unpaid rent or not. Every empty month is real cash leaving the owner's pocket. Keeping units filled is often the single most important job there is. One bad event can undo years of steady, careful profit too. Fires, storms, water damage, a slip and fall lawsuit. Insurance exists specifically to transfer that catastrophic risk away. It's an ongoing cost, but it protects a much larger asset. Skip it to save money, and one disaster can wipe out everything. Location can matter as much as the building sitting on top of it. Two identical buildings can be worth wildly different amounts. Nearby jobs, transit, schools, and shopping all drive that gap. As an area gets more desirable, rents and prices tend to follow. Underneath all of it, real estate runs on supply and demand. Too many buyers chasing too few homes pushes prices upward fast. Build too much, and the opposite happens just as quickly. Vacancies climb, landlords compete, and rents start sliding down. Local supply is one of the most underrated forces in this business. Real estate also moves in cycles, not in one straight lineup. Strong economies bring jobs, income growth, and rising demand for space. Recessions bring the opposite, often without much warning at all. Rents soften, vacancies climb, and values can fall along with them. Timing the market wrong is a real and recurring risk here. For many investors, the real power shows up once they scale. One property's cash flow and equity can fund the next purchase. That second property can help finance a third one down the line. Done patiently, this cycle can build an entire portfolio over time. Sam Zell built exactly this kind of empire starting small in Chicago. He bought distressed apartment buildings cheap during down markets. By the time he passed away in 2023, his portfolio spanned industries. His real estate holdings alone were valued in the billions. His approach was simple: buy when others are scared to buy. Jorge Perez took a different path, focused entirely on condos in Miami. His company Related Group became one of the largest condo developers. He built his fortune through pre-sales, timing, and Miami's growth. Both men scaled the same basic mechanics into very different empires. Neither one got there chasing a single lucky property. They got there by running the underlying math correctly, repeatedly. As a portfolio grows, managing it becomes its own real job. Someone has to collect rent, screen tenants, and fix what breaks. Investors can do this themselves or hire it out to professionals. Either way, management quality decides whether the portfolio holds up. Not everyone wants to own buildings directly at all, though. Real estate investment trusts pool money from many investors together. A REIT owns income-producing property and collects the rent itself. A share of that rental income gets paid back out as dividends. Realty Income Corporation is one well-known example of this model. It owns thousands of retail and commercial properties nationwide. It pays shareholders a dividend every single month, not quarterly. That gives ordinary investors real estate income without owning a building. No tenants to chase, no roof to fix, no vacancy to manage personally. Let's put 2 full years side by side, the way this business actually plays out. In a strong year, rents rise, vacancy stays low, and refinancing is cheap. A portfolio bought right can throw off steady cash flow and rising equity. In a rough year, rates jump, a tenant defaults, and a roof fails. The same portfolio can swing from comfortable to genuinely stressful fast. Nothing about the building changed between those 2 years. Conditions did. That's the part most first-time buyers never see coming. Real estate doesn't make money in one single way. It never has. Rent builds cash flow. Debt paydown builds equity. Time builds appreciation. The people who do well here aren't the ones chasing one hot deal. They're the ones who understand risk as closely as they understand return.